Alright, hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about something interesting I did as a Holy Priest this week on some bosses like Croesus on Heroic. So just some things that I was interested in trying out as a Holy Priest. I've mentioned before, but I'm not really a fan of the Trail of Light spec for Holy. I just don't find it engaging. Pressing one button for an entire fight. So with the new tier set, I thought I'd try out something new. So for people who don't know, the new tier for Holy increases the Echo of Light healing for your Holy Word Sanctify by 100%. So when we're looking at my mastery currently in my Holy gear, we're at 45% additional healing. So that's an extra 45% additional healing on Holy Word Sanctify. Now, there's a few things that's happened to Holy Priest that makes this kind of spec a lot better. So the first, obviously, we got the buff to Piety, where Prayer of Mending's cooldown is passively reduced, and it also reduces the cooldown on Sanctify. So this allows us now to get a whole lot more value out of Prayer of Mending, and then it lets us get more Prayer of Mendings out. So we have a very cheap way of reducing the cooldown on Sanctify. And what they also did was they buffed Prayer of Healing. So this hopefully will open up different options for Holy. Now, my whole idea around this playstyle was to maximize the amount of Holy Words Sanctify. Now, I'll go through some gameplay with this, and I'm also going to look at some logs just to kind of show you what the numbers are looking like. Now, I only played this on like 2 bosses. I never have played it before. I'm not practiced at all, so I'm sure I can get a lot better. But there is a few things I want to point out that are looking very promising. So now the idea behind this spec is that we're going to be casting heal when there's not much damage going out. Now, they also buffed healing in patch a little while ago. So heal does more healing, slightly more healing than flash heal, and costs a whole lot less mana. So now without Trail of Light, you obviously lose a lot of value from casting flash heal, but the idea is that majority of our healing is going to come from Prayer of Healing, Holy Word Sanctify, and then obviously our Mastery. So we're mostly concerned about getting as many Prayer of Healings off as possible, and to do that, Enlightenment's going to be the best talent to take. So another interesting thing I was doing was taking Halo. Now, it kind of gets a bit... Now, a lot of people don't take Halo because Divinity is very strong. Now, with Apotheosis, Divinity is even a lot stronger. I just wanted to play with Halo to see what kind of numbers I was getting, and I think it ended up doing about 5% of my healing. So Halo might be good for this spec. Halo does gain a lot of value from having more mastery. So there might be a niche for Halo. It just depends on whether what the fight length is. The shorter the fight length is, the more value Divinity is going to get, because you're going to be casting more Prayer of Healings with this spec. But the longer the fight is, Halo might become a more kind of beneficial thing to take, as you're going to be casting less spells that reduce the cooldown on Sanctify. You're going to be casting slow spells like Heal, so you're not going to be getting as high uptime on Divinity. Therefore, Halo gets more value. So it is kind of a toss-up. Divinity is kind of been the staple. I just played with Halo just because I wanted to see what it was like. Now, for the level T100, I went with Apotheosis, and that was purely just to maximize the amount of Sanctifies I was getting out. Benediction might also be good for this playstyle, but I went with Apotheosis just because I wanted to play with just a Mastery build, Sanctify kind of thing. Now, I don't have the 2-piece. That is very important to note. So when I'm going to be looking at some of these logs that I bring up right now. Now, I don't actually have that much Mastery. I have, 11k. Now, this trinket here, if this was another Mastery stat stick or a Mastery something else, this would be very beneficial to the spec. I have a lot of gear that is, high crit and not high Mastery. So if these 2 rings were high Mastery rather than crit, there's a lot of optimization going on that I could do in this to greatly improve the amount of Mastery you have and greatly improve the Echo of Light healing I'm getting. So you know, this spec is only going to get better with more and more mastery. Mastery is worth a whole lot for this spec with the new tier set. So you know, ideally you're looking to be getting up to about 15k and over. You know, the more mastery you can get with this kind of playstyle, Roaring and the new 2-piece is going to be very good. So when we're looking at some of the logs here, now this is for Croesus. Now Croesus, the damage comes in, you know, on the slams. Every slam there's some damage. So this kind of playstyle fits it perfectly. So I'm not worried about tank healing because we have a Holy Paladin. Holy Paladins are the best to tank heal by a long way. So I'm not worried about sitting there making sure I'm constantly casting on the tank. I'm worried about burst healing the raid after slams. So the best way to do that is making sure our Sanctify is always off cooldown whenever the slams come in. And you know, using Prayer of Healing as much as possible. So you can see now here in the damage recap that my healing, Prayer of Healing, Sanctify, and Echo of Light, you know, and Prayer of Mending, and you can see how little like Divine Hymn did there. So sorry, I'm a bit sick. So so now, what's important to note about this is that if we go to summary. So I'm doing 480 kHPS with this spec. I'm also doing 30% overhealing. So there is a lot of extra potential healing for me to be done here. And considering I don't now, if we also factored in, if I had the tier set, Echo of Light, you know, would be getting 45% increased Echo of Light healing from Sanctify. So we're looking to get about, you know, 17 million more healing from Echo of Light. That is a huge amount of increased healing. So, you know, this huge overhealing that we have here is going to be even more. And that just kind of shows off the potential this spec does have. And so that's something that's really positive. I was really looking forward to hopefully getting my 2-piece tonight, but sadly no conch dropped at all. So hopefully next week we can look to pick up some conch pieces and actually try this out with the 2-piece. But you know, just from the testing I had tonight, it was looking pretty decent. So as I said, the important thing to note here as well is that the amount of overhealing that we have. So as the fights get harder, this spec is only going to get better and better. So that's something very good for the spec. So what I might actually do now, there's not too much I want to talk about with these logs, so I might actually just go into the gameplay and just kind of show off what I'm doing, and kind of just give you an idea of what's going on. Alright, so this is just in the middle of the Croesus here. So you know, the playstyle is really quite simple, right? So just Prayer of Healing, and Sanctify. So I'm running Halo, you know, we're just getting a Prayer of Mending on cooldown, doing mechanics like a baller, you know, and we're not too concerned. I'm really not a very good Holy Priest as well, so like, you know, don't be watching my gameplay and think it's you know, coming on that. I never really play Holy too much. I just think it's kind of fun to, you know, try out these different things and, you know, be different. So now with this spec as well, there's also huge potential for the increased healing for Prayer of Healing with the relics. There's the 6% relics. So if you got another 3% increased Prayer of Healing, 6% increased Prayer of Healing, you can have another 18% increased healing for Prayer of Healing. Also, if you pick up Divinity, you know, you could be looking at your Prayer of Healings, you know, be doing an extra 30% on top of what I've got in this video here, along with the mastery and whatnot. So there is a lot of potential for min-maxing, optimizing, and that can go a really long way with increasing what healing you can put out. And you know, I personally like this playstyle a whole lot more, where you're not just there to pad out the raid with flash heals. You know, this spec for Holy is burst healing. It's when you want to burst heal, you pop Apotheosis, you cast down, you know, Sanctifies every 3 globals. You're doing a crazy amount of healing through your mastery, and you know, you have the mana to do that fairly consistently, especially with the buffs to Blessing of Wisdom. You know, I think this spec could really take off. You know, I'm looking forward to playing with it, and seeing what I can do. Once I get the 2-piece, I'm sure my healing is going to be significantly higher. And you can kind of just see, now, like, this is where my healing picks up, right? Is where, we're forced in this corner, and this is where you actually have to start healing. You can just, see how I'm just climbing in the meters there, and that's all because, I'm playing this spec that is very reactive to AoE damage. So on a boss like Croesus, where it's pretty much all AoE damage, you're going to do very, very well. Whereas if you're playing this and you're the flash heal spec, you're going to be sitting there primarily spot healing people who don't need to be spot healed. This probably might be a more efficient way of healing. We're yet to really see anyone do this. I had a quick look at some of the logs of people doing heroic. Obviously, when we get into mythic, people are going to be doing different things, but in heroic, I didn't see anyone with very, very good. I didn't see anyone all doing anything apart from the Trail of Light spec. Spam flash heal for the entire fight kind of thing. So I'm really excited for this to hopefully take off. Hopefully be good. I definitely think for this fight, Divinity would be better as well. So just a random tangent, just because it is quite a short fight, and I am looking to do those burst windows of healing. So you can just see in the end, I pretty much go from last to top there in the last phase, and that's pretty indicative of how much burst healing that I am doing at that point. So yeah, that was pretty terrible gameplay wise. Just wanted to kind of talk about the spec and my anticipation for it. So hope this kind of opened some eyes for some people. Gave some people some thoughts. Give it a try. From my testing so far, literally on like 2 bosses, it looked to be doing pretty well. It's very reactive to things that are going on, which is perfect for a healer. So yeah, it has the potential to do pretty well, and it's something different from the norm. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.